A commission-based in-home or home improvement sales job can be the best or the worst opportunity depending on the job and the company you pick. It can be the worst because, as you've heard, one of the biggest frauds are contractors or people who sell home improvements. They can be an offshoot of the 1960s siding salesmen who were the used car salespeople of their time. High-pressure sales with no integrity or value. These can be spotted because usually they're trying to sell you more and working there than seeing if you'd be right for the job. That can be the best job because if you pick the right one, you're helping improve the quality of people's lives by improving the quality of where they live, their home. It's a job where you can literally have no experience or college degree and make high six figures a year. It's totally fun and not being tied behind a desk or computer screen. You're meeting new people every day in their home. Never boring. I know this because a job like this made me millions and a wonderful life. 35 years and 16,000 homes later, I still love this business. So you want to be sure you pick the right one. After all, it's only your life. Here's what you should be asking and or looking for when you interview in this type of position. You can get my list of questions by clicking on the link below in the description to use as a cheat sheet or a guide when you're in the interview and tips how to use it in the interview. Now, ultimately, you're the one to have to make the decision based on the information you've gotten. These are just some of the main things I look for. One of the first things I look for are going to be the basics, such as the geographical areas that are covered. So how far are you going to be driving? Is the mileage paid? How many appointments do you see a day? And what time is the first appointment and the last? You need to know if you're willing to work these hours. The average length of the sales call. Is it designed to be a 1-call or a 2-call close? And then how many days a week you're expected to work, including weekends. Are weekends mandatory? And if so, is it 1 or 2 weekend days? And then how much time off and if there's flexibility in that. You want to find out, is this 100% commission? And if so, are you 1099? If it is commission, what's the commission rate and what, if any, are the bonus plans available? How does the pay work in terms of from the time you sold it to when you actually get paid full commission? This would include how long it takes to be installed, because if it takes 5 months to be installed, you may not be paid for a long time. And then the front end versus the back end payments. The front end is usually the amount they pay you right when you make the sale, and then they pay you the back end after the job is installed and the company gets paid. This is so you can plan financially and to make sure you can afford to work there, depending how soon you can get paid after the training and you start to sell. So be sure you're clear on those details. The number 2 things to look for are signs that they have a vested interest in you and therefore more interest in helping you succeed. It's probably going to be 1099, but see if they have a medical and or 401k program. You want a paid training class of at least 2 weeks. That way, if you have no experience, you have a shot. Less than that, and the training's not going to give you enough. Do they provide preset appointments? And this is probably one of the most expensive things a company has to supply. I wouldn't take a job that didn't give you preset leads. The job is hard enough as it is than for you to have to go out and cold call and get your own appointments. Preset means that the appointment is set up at a specific time and then find out where they get their appointments from. Are they home shows? Are they cold calls? Is it a direct response such as from the internet or something like a lead aggregator like Home Advisor? Then what percentage of these appointments actually result in giving you a sales presentation? That's what they call the sit rate. Do they have ongoing training and support? Field support, meaning are there people who go out with you in the home and actually watch what you're doing so they can help you? And sales meetings, if so, how many? What type of equipment is provided? Do they give you samples? Are there tablets? Are there PCs? Nothing should involve you paying a cent or any money to work there. If you have to be licensed to sell home improvements in your state, then they should be paying for it. Now the next section I would get, and hopefully the cheat sheet I have below, you can just fill in the numbers, is to get the numbers. In other words, how many leads a week, and then break it down so you know what you're getting into. So how many leads a week, then how many of those turn into presentations or your sit rate, how many of those turn into sales, and then how many of those sales fall out due to either not being approved for credit or the customer cancels. The average contract price and the average commission. Then you need to know what's the average income of all the reps. What is the lowest income a rep makes there and what does the highest make? The next thing that I'd look for has to do with credibility. Credibility is everything. In its basic form, commission sales means that, well, if you do this, we'll do this or pay you this. It's a promise, and if the promise is not real, then you're wasting your time. So I check the numbers to see what they promised, i.e., run the numbers we discussed earlier and see if they match the promised income. For example, they tell you we have 8 reps and we do $30 million a year. If they tell you the average rep runs 10 leads a week and sits or does 9 demonstrations a week and then closes 40%, that should be an average of 3.5 sales a week. And if they lose 15% to credits and cancels, each rep would end up with 3 net sales a week. If the average contract price is $15,000, then each rep would sell $45,000 a week, or times 52 weeks would be $2.3 million per rep a year. 8 reps would then mean $18.4 million a year, not $30 million. Something doesn't add up. That would red flag me because credibility is everything. Now, if you're new and this seems daunting, do it simpler. In other words, how much business do you do a year? Well, we do 10 million. So if you know how many reps they have, you can figure out how much each rep does, which would be 1 million a rep, and then match the dollar amount so that you can figure out the average commission to the average pay they're giving you per rep. So if they have 10 reps and they do $1 million a year and their average commission is 7%, then that means each rep's making $70,000. Again, I don't want to confuse you. You probably might not do it there in the interview, but later on you can look at your notes and see if the numbers jive with what they're telling you. I would also check reviews of the customers and make sure they're happy, because you have to believe in what you're doing. If you don't, you're never going to be successful. Make sure it's something where you honestly feel that you're helping the customer when you sell them. I found out how many people work there and the average tenure, which means how long has the average person worked there. So another way of looking at this is how long has the shortest tenure been here and how long is the longest tenure. Why are they hiring? You don't want to say this to them, but is it a bad organization and they keep turning through people, or are they growing? And then what are the opportunities to move up and what does that entail? Now the last thing to look for is the product that you're selling. Make sure it's something that you like and you have fun selling. The choice of product is important because when I was a sales manager at a company that sold all products, when we were interviewing people, it was really important that we try to match them to the right one, saying, okay, this guy's more technical. He's not going to go do good in kitchens, but I think he'd do great in HVAC, or vice versa. And obviously, the more that you like something, the more fun it is to sell, and the better you'll do. For example, if you like design and picking out colors, selling kitchen remodeling, countertops, kitchen refacing, bathroom remodeling, or acrylic wall systems, these would be fun things to sell because you're picking out colors with the customer. Now, if you're more technical and you like figuring out calculations and measuring things like HVAC, roofs, even gutter guards, this would be a product probably more suited to you. If you don't have a preference, you can't go around selling things like windows, doors, and siding because they have a little bit of both of those. This is important because do you think you'd like selling cemetery plots in people's homes? I know what you're going to tell your friends. Business is dead. I hope these tips and questions helped you. Now don't forget there's a free download available of all the questions so you can use them in your interview, linked in the description below. There are a lot of variables to consider. Ultimately, to me, if one person there can do it, I know it can be done. Nobody's better than you. Don't forget it. Now, once you find out what you want, apply yourself, commit, and constantly learn so you can get better and make more money. Learning is earning. Now, if you want more information, please check out the video above on thinking about a commission sales job. And then once you get your dream job, check out the playlist on how to succeed in it. Happy selling.